Hey, what's up? It's Sugar from Sound Candy Studio, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Arturia M12 filter. It's a great filter, I must say. It comes in a suite of 3, but today I'm only going to look at the M12 filter. So let's just go and have a look at it and see what it sounds like. Welcome back. Right, let's start right at the beginning, as we always do. Right, I'm making a track, and it's an electronic dance music house type of track. Now, I am using this instrument here. This is the Avenger plugin, and I'm using this. Now, let me play something for you so you can see what I'm using this set of chords, Chicago Style 2. Now, I want the repetitiveness of this, but what I don't want is it to go all the way through the track and be really boring. So there's going to be some changes in the track. So what I've decided to use is, as I've said at the beginning, the Arturia M12 filter. Now you're going to see how this plays in a minute. Let's move that out of the way. So this is what I had originally used. So I'm going to play some keys here. So I believe it's this one here. Something like that. So what I've done is I've used this and I want it to be repetitive, but what I don't want is I don't want it to be ultra repetitive and simply go on and on forever, as many tracks do. So I'm using the Arturia M12 filter. So you're going to hear this in a minute. In fact, let's do it now. Let's just hear it now. Okay, so this is the track that I'm working on, and this is essentially that keyboard that we were just using. Let's mute that so it doesn't play anyway. That's the Avenger, and this is what it sounds like. Now essentially these are all the same until we get to here. So let's just drop it back a tiny bit and you'll see the differences. Right, so that's the sound I want. That's the sound I was going for, and that's the sound I was able to get. Now, let's just see how we did it. So we are using the Arturia M12 filter to get that sound, because essentially we don't want the monotony of those Chicago keys to play all the way through it. So let's talk about the M12 filter. Right, so starting top left-hand corner, you have filter A, and on the right hand side you have filter B. Now filter A and filter B are exactly the same, so we're only going to have to explain one of the sides, so we'll do that on the A. So there is a mode button. Under this mode button there are 15 individual squares that indicate the type of sound that you're going to try to generate. Now on this particular track we are using band pass 2 for the A side of this. There are multiple other ones, but I'm using bandpass 2, so that's on the A side. Also on the A side you have the cutoff rotary encoder, then you have the resonance rotary encoder, and the pan and the out. In the center of the graphical user interface you have dry wet encoders, the master cutoff, then the filter, and below that you have some funny little lights. Now these lights indicate whether we're playing left, so A will be your left side, B will be your right side, AB will be in series, and A over B will be in parallel. So as you can see from the tiny illustration here how that works. So A goes through B and goes to the output, A over B, they both play and they both go to the output. As I said, B filter is exactly the same as A filter, so we don't need to do that one again. But again, if you want to see, it also has your 15 different types of filter modes on there too. Before we go down to the second half of this, let's carry on at the top. Under the M12 filter icon with the Arturia logo, you have save as, import and export, and resize window. The resize window is really great because once upon a time I did this to an application. I made it really huge, and if you're working on a Mac you'll probably already know you kind of have to drag this thing in from the bottom right to rescale it, proportionally rescale the damn thing, and in which case when I made that mistake I had to change my resolution of my monitor to get it back. But under this one we just shoot down and we'll go back to the size that we want, and that's specifically interesting if you're using a large monitor or a small monitor. You get the idea of that. Okay, so let's move down. We're going to go to the random section. You have a rotary encoder for the rate, so up and down, plus and minus. And then you have the sync light. Just beside that, you have envelopes. Now you have 3 individual envelopes. So we have envelope 1, 2, and 3. And these are all editable. So let's go and have a look at any one of them. So let's just do this one, because it has this nice wiggly thing moving around. So to make changes to the envelope, you're going to click and hold and make any changes that you want. It doesn't stop there. If you want to add a node, you just left click on your mouse and you add as many nodes as you like. To get rid of these nodes, if you right click on your mouse, it will also remove those nodes that you've just put on. Okay, that makes sense. And equally goes for any of the envelopes. And then you can make some point changes here. So again, scrolling up and down will make those changes. To the right, you have your mod. You have the rate rotary encoder, again, up and down, plus and minus. Below that, you have the wave signs, and you have 5 individual wave signs, all currently shown here, all the way from shine all the way through to square. So if you've ever used a sequencer or a something like the Novation or any of the synths, you'll notice these things all the time. They're everywhere. At the bottom, you have the modulation matrix. Now there are 40 individual component squares here. Well, not quite squares, more like rectangles. And these indicate what part of the filters you are using. So as you can see on these are called destinations. So destination 6, nothing is in there. But if you wanted to put, say for instance, that in there, you could add the envelope to it, and then to click and add a node to that, you can click, add a node, and then go up and down to change the value. And equally, that will go the same for this one here as well. Just just click and add from the drop down list. Choose whether you're going to use envelope A, 1, 2, or 3, or the random or the offset. So these will be here, as you can see. So you have envelopes 1, 2, and 3. Then you have random, which is your random rate encoder here. And then you have your mod encoder, which is here. So if you wanted to add something to destination 8, let's say for instance that, and you wanted to make changes to this, you could go ahead and do this and go up and down. Incidentally, if you've made these changes and you don't like it, just double click and it gets rid of those as well. Okay, so we'll carry on at the top. At the top here we have the filter and the individual filter styles. So these are all the presets you have in here. Then it's filtered by types. So if you wanted to go down to any of these, you can just go and click on them. And if you wanted to go through synth, you can go and make any changes here too. Once again, we have much more presets. They are all under here. Any of the presets can be, any changes that you make, you can save them into a default location, and you'll have your presets there. And here you simply have your plus and your minus, or your left and your right, and these will cycle through the presets that you already have loaded into your M12 filter. That's that. So we're going to go and take a listen to this one here, and we're going to, let's deactivate it for a second, and we are going to just jump outside of our markers here, and we're going to play from here through to it, so we see what it's like without it, and then we'll hear what it's like with it. So that's obviously in the bypass mode, and obviously why I added this, because I don't want this thing to play all the way through to simply have that monotony of that sound, which is why I added this filter. And let's do it, let's just let it loop in here. So let's turn that off, let's deactivate it, let's just jump it in here, and we'll do plus, we're going to do it with or without. So obviously here it's bypassed, and that's it engaged. So whilst we're here, what we can do, let me just lower this volume a tiny bit. Whilst we're here, what we can do, let's cycle through a few other of the presets and see what we have. In fact, let's not do just that. Let's go in and let's just solo it. so we can hear it better. There we go. Now there are, as you saw earlier, there are a huge amounts of presets. We'll just grab any one to see what it sounds like. I actually quite like that. Nice little filter sweep. There are so many options to make changes on this. I'm not going to go through them all because there are far too many of them, and nobody wants to hear me rabbit on about this anyway. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to end this here, but suffice to say, oh yes, one other thing. Here, up here you have your MIDI controls. So if you want to go and make any changes to your MIDI, so syncing it to your particular MIDI device where you can make MIDI changes, this is where you'll do it. I should have said that earlier on actually. Right, so that's it from me. What I would say, if you're interested in this, go to the Arturia website. I think you just need to register, download the demo, and take a look for yourself. Incidentally, this comes in a pack, in a suite of 3 individual icons. One of them is the SEMS filter. So let me just drag that one on. Let's just have a look at that one. But you can also buy these individually. And the other one is the mini filter. Let's just grab that one on there too. The reason for doing this video with this, I actually quite like the sound on this, and it worked in this track, so that's what I did. I may at some point go ahead and run through these as well so you can hear what they sound like. But if you'd like me to do more videos on these types of filters, I have quite a few of them, so we can also certainly do that. In the meantime, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment if there's something I've missed, which I often do, because my subscribers, as small as they are telling me that I'm missing stuff. Simply because I'm trying to truncate the whole thing down so that you don't spend too long watching the videos. But if I've missed something and you think it was important and I just simply missed it out, please feel free to tell me. Okay, like, subscribe, take care for now. Take care, bye-bye.